2 of the home program is going to be part of the hip flexor stretch. We're going to do it in 2 different ways. One, we're going to do isometrically, which means we're going to hold the stretch without moving. The other way we're going to do it is called eccentrically, which means we're going to contract the musculature and then stretch into it, lengthening the tissue. So the first thing we're going to talk about is position, because position is everything in this stretch. So what I want you to do is, if you're sitting in this half tall kneel, okay, what I'd like you to do is think about the tailbone dropping down towards the floor and your sternum and your chest bone sitting parallel to each other. Most people in this position will automatically begin to feel a stretch along the front of their hip into their quad. Feel that there? Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you need a little bit more, what you can do is come forward slightly into that stretch, but again, maintaining the glute contraction, number 1, tailbone and the sternum laying parallel to one another.
Yeah, it's really easy to kind of bend forward and let the body come forward, but the difference is keeping that straight alignment and then just shifting forward, but nothing's changed from the mid-back to the hips.
That's a very, very good point. Our colleague Rhonda in Sarasota will call that dumping into the belly. We don't want to do that. Hips will roll forward. You'll lose the ability to open up that hip flexor. So that's an excellent point. The eccentric component of this stretch is once you've come into the end of your available range in the front, what you'll do with the foot that's in the back is you're going to push down into the floor, maybe 5 or 10%. You don't want to push down too hard, but from that position, you're going to go back to your start position. And again, keeping your tailbone underneath you, lined up with the sternum, you're going to move back to your start position. What's happening there is the quad will be engaged, the hip flexor is engaged, and we're lengthening tissue by bending only at the knee. Try not to arch back, try not to cheat, and try not to let that hip drop further back. So here's some of the mistakes you might see in this process. Let's come forward. That's not right because we've dumped into our belly here. On the way back, what else can we see? We can lose our hip flexor there.
Yeah, so I'm out of alignment. I'm kind of coming forward. I can crunch into that as I come back.
Right.
Or I can arch back to try to feel like I'm getting more of a stretch, but really I'm just hyperextending through my back and I'm not opening up in my hip.
So those are some of the cheats that you can do in this exercise, which is why specificity is so important on this. The ball release lying on the floor combined with this is a great way to open up this hip flexor component, which then can be worked into the timing of hip flexors and hip extensors to prevent injury going forward. I hope these videos are important to you. I hope that you do them, and I hope that they bring you much success and less pain.
And make sure to like and subscribe the videos and tell us what you want to see more of.
Yes.